Hey guys, and welcome back to the Movie-Club Emporium. This week we are talking about the directorial debut of one Dev Patel and his new film Monkey Man. And first of all, let me just say this. Regardless of how I feel about the movie going forward, I'm so glad that this thing was seen by Jordan Peele and picked up by Universal, because this movie was originally supposed to just be kind of dumped on Netflix. And this movie is so much better than just being lost in that algorithm shuffle. So I remember when this movie was coming out, again, nowhere around me, but I kept hearing, oh yeah, it's just kind of, oh man, it's just kind of John Wick in Mumbai. And I gotta tell you, no, incorrect. There, you could definitely tell it is influenced a lot in its action style by John Wick and the movies that have come after it, Atomic Blonde, stuff like that. But what I really dug about this movie is that it does deal with a lot of not only Hindu mythology, because we are essentially kind of telling a version of the story of Hanuman, who's a monkey-like creature, the Monkey Man, if you will, who tried to get to the sun to get to reach the top, the pinnacle, and was cast down by the other gods because they felt he didn't belong. On top of it also being just a revenge film, but also dealing with some of the current and recent political climate that's been going on in India, dealing with things like police corruption. And our villain, I don't know anything about that other than the bare bones, so I'm not feel like I'm one to comment on it. But you can look that stuff up and see that we are trying to say something, a little something about it. Again, this movie is really good. You could definitely tell it's the first time director making this movie. But not only is he directing, he also wrote it and stars in it. And he does a fantastic job. The actions look really good. There's a couple of different times where we go to this kind of like fight club. That's where you actually see him kind of donning the Monkey Man mask you see in the commercials. That stuff is fantastic. My complaint is that stuff, as great as it is, kind of feels like it's from a different movie. Because it really kind of doesn't have any kind of bearing aside from being like, hey, you want to know how good of a fighter he is? Also, that's where Charlton Copley is, who's kind of the only other real like known recognizable name to American audiences, and so he just kind of flat out disappears from this movie. Also, this movie is a little too long. It's over 2 hours. And because of the way it's structured, the middle is very sloggy. It's the scene you've seen a million times. Good guy goes up against the villains too early in the film, against his better judgment and his own hubris. Gets taken down, and now we gotta do this middle montage, regaining our strength and getting back and over 100% to head on to the climax. It's very Dark Knight Rises. You name a movie and it's that scene where it is really just kind of really brings the movie to a halt, kind of in the middle, where he's healing up and being trained on becoming a even better fighter. And then so the villain, you have this corrupt police chief who he's after because that police chief killed his mother and burned his village down. He was a child. And he's kind of the second bad. He's also he's the muscle for this religious figure who has kind of used his influence, almost cult-like, to take over the police and is now eyeing, the political arena, perhaps trying to run for president of India or whatever they have as, I believe it's president. I could be wrong again. I'm a big old idiot, big dummy when it comes to that kind of stuff. So he's kind of like the mastermind. They've been doing things at his bidding. So you have the fight with the police chief, and then you have like this kind of rooftop confrontation that I will say this, it does to me have a definitive ending, much like the Hanuman myth does. However, there is a little bit of a tease, as a maybe it doesn't quite end the way you think, and I get it. I know why, because again, we've had 4 John Wick movies, but I feel like this should be a one and done. As much as I love the Atomic Blonde, it was perfect as a one and done movie. This should be a one and done as well. Um, Again, it's steeped in Indian politics as well as Hindu mythology, and all that stuff is what great. It elevates it over just the idea of it's just a simple revenge flick. You know, again, John Wick in Mumbai. It's not that. It has a lot to say, and Dev Patel does a fantastic job saying it. It's just, again, just real slow in the middle, a little too long. All the action stuff looks great, looks fantastic, and I cannot wait to see him tackle more. And honestly, it's weird to think about him not being in major things. You know, like his last big movie was The Green Knight, which is widely underseen. And you know, he had Slumdog Millionaire was kind of his burst onto the scene, but this guy should definitely be in more stuff because he's absolutely fantastic. So do yourself a favor, check out Monkey Man. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by it. It was a lot of fun. And the next week, I don't know what we're doing next week, quite to be honest, because so hopefully I think there's stuff coming out here in June. If not, it'll probably be playing catch up. I may try to see if I can by then. Hopefully, Godzilla X Kong is out, and we'll talk about. Since I can't get a hold of the other Godzilla movie that came out, we'll talk about the one that did. But until then, again, all I got is like a terrible banana joke, and it's terrible, and I apologize. Hey, the dog didn't die in this one, so go out with that. Bye.